Welcome to today's Explainer. Ever wonder why two people can look at the exact same situation but experience completely different realities? It's wild, right? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating text that breaks down exactly how our internal mindset literally shapes the external world around us. So let's jump right in and uncover the blueprint for crafting your reality. To get us started, the text shares this classic, legendary business anecdote that perfectly sets up our whole discussion. Picture this. Two shoe salesmen get sent to a region where absolutely no one wears shoes. The first guy looks around, completely defeated, and says, "There's no market here. Nobody wears shoes." But the second guy? He looks at that exact same scene, his eyes light up, and he goes, "Wow, if we can make it a habit for them to wear shoes, this is going to be a massive market." See, they're looking at the exact same physical reality, but their internal visions led to totally different outcomes. And that brings us right to the heart of the text we're exploring today. Chapter 4, The Theory of Artistic Development. Now, despite the name, this chapter isn't actually about painting or sculpting. It's an incredible step-by-step philosophical guide to manifesting your personal ideals, basically treating the development of your life like a grand work of art. Here's how we're going to break it down today. First, the lens of the mind, then the lucky foundation. Next, designing your stage, and finally, living strategically. All right, Section 1, the lens of the mind, how perception colors reality. The author introduces this powerful concept called the mind's colored glasses, or shin no ero megane in the original Japanese. The core idea here is that no matter what you're looking at, you are always viewing it through a pair of colored glasses. And the tint of those glasses? It's determined entirely by your internal mood and spiritual state. So, reality itself actually changes depending on which glasses you happen to be wearing that day. To make this super concrete, the text gives a great everyday example. So you're in a really dark, gloomy mood, right? If you look out at a crowd of people, you're genuinely going to perceive everyone as wearing black or dull, dark clothes. But if your heart is uplifted and bright, even if it's the dead of winter in December, you'll suddenly notice everyone around you wearing white or vibrant, bright colors. It really makes you stop and ask yourself, wait a minute, what's my state of mind today? Am I leaning bright or am I leaning dark? Moving on to Section 2, the lucky foundation, breaking the cycle. So once we realize our mood filters our perception, we hit the author's first big prerequisite for actually realizing your ideals. And it's all about luck. The text argues that the absolute first step is cultivating a rock-solid belief that you are, in fact, a lucky person. The author points out that if you ask highly successful people if they're lucky, they always say, "Yes, I am." They constantly affirm that things are working out for them, and by doing that, they create this incredible magnetic pull for even more success. And this creates a crazy psychological loop. If you firmly believe you're unlucky, the text says you'll unconsciously seek out failures just to validate that belief. You'll literally cause things to go wrong just so you can say, I knew it. I really am cursed. It becomes a total self-fulfilling prophecy. But a lucky mindset, that builds positive momentum. You drop the fear of failure because deep down, you just know success is inevitable. The author hits the nail on the head with this quote. First, you must think that you are a lucky person. If you cannot discard the belief that you are unlucky, you will inevitably bring about that reality. It's pretty straightforward. If you hold onto a negative self-image just because you're scared to let it go, you are the one locking yourself into that unfortunate reality. Section 3, designing your stage, vision, and cooperators. Now that you've got that lucky foundation built, we move to the next step, actively visualizing the environment and the people you need to hit your goals. The text uses this fantastic theatrical metaphor. It says if you truly believe you're a lucky person meant to achieve something great, you have to trust that a stage will be prepared for you. And if you're putting on a play, the universe is going to inherently provide the cast, your allies, your cooperators. It's a mindset of profound trust in your own development. But there is a catch. The scale of your success is directly tied to the size of your vision. If you only picture a tiny stage with a couple of allies, well, you're only going to get a tiny success. A limited imagination yields a limited reality. But as your conviction grows and expands, reality bends right along with it to fit that massive stage. So how do we avoid playing small? The author introduces a strategic method, reverse engineering your grand vision. Here's a math example directly from the text. Say you currently lead a group of 10,000 people, and you're stuck on what to do next. The author says that's simply because your vision is too small. But if you set a massive end goal, like reaching 1 million people, you can easily work backward. You go, okay, to hit 1 million, my first big milestone has to be 100,000. So to get from 10,000 to 100,000, here are the exact steps I need to take today. By visualizing that massive end goal, the immediate next steps suddenly become crystal clear. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, the power of strategy, connecting vision to reality. So how do we practically use this massive vision to deal with those annoying, everyday obstacles? The text argues that having a completed blueprint in your mind literally acts as a shield. When you clearly see who you're going to become, you can use your future position to solve today's problems. Without that big picture vision, you're just going to get crushed by minor setbacks or people disagreeing with you. That overarching vision is exactly what gives you the resilience to push through. There's a really sharp distinction made here between tactics and strategy. Look, anyone can use tactics. That's just putting out fires, handling today's or this week's immediate problems. But true capability? That's rare. That requires living strategically. And strategic living means looking at least 3 years down the road, forecasting the patterns of reality, and structuring your life today based entirely on that future vision. And the ultimate benefit of all this? It lets you completely detach from trivial setbacks. The text actually suggests you should view your current struggles as if you're just passing through a temporary virtual world on the way to your real destination. When you're operating on that kind of strategic scale, you just cut right through the boring, day-to-day worries that drag everyone else down. You are simply too focused on your grand ideal to even care. We've covered some really profound ground in this explainer today, from the tint of our mental glasses to the sheer power of reverse engineering a massive strategic vision. So, I want to leave you with this to ponder. Based on the blueprint we just walked through, how vast is the stage you're designing for yourself? And if you pause and check right now, what color are your glasses today? Thanks for tuning in, and keep questioning, keep learning.